Here's 3 songs by the Cramps that I think every electric guitarist should learn, all using basic open chords, minor pentatonic licks, and all kind of inspired by rockabilly and early blues and rock and roll, especially Rumble by Link Wray, which was one of Jimmy Page's direct influences on him as a guitarist and him as a music lover. I've done a full tutorial for that on my YouTube channel, but let's have a look at these top 3 Cramps songs, and I'll leave a link to some more Halloween favourites at the top of the description below. I'm gonna go for the Gretsch today. Electromatic Gretsch. Bought for £288 from PMT Leeds. RIP, it no longer exists. In 2008, this is a 2008 model. And they had some right deals on them because, as you can see by the back of the headstock, it was 125 years of Gretsch guitars by this little symbol here. And let's do it. Get the tremolo set up because that's what it's all about. A fantastically cool effect that was one of the first effects that was on old 50s amplifiers and 60s amplifiers. When I get on about tremolos and some weirder effects, that is when, I'll be honest, something like this really comes in handy. Let's have a nice close-up on this. Here is my Boss ME70. This is a multi-effects unit that is like an awful lot of stompbox pedals. And that's why I really liked it when I first got it, which was primarily to be in a cover band. And I really liked the fact that it was really stompbox based. This one I got back in about 2008. Same time as I got the Gretsch, because I got them both because I was starting a new wedding band, basically. You guys guess what song this is? I walk a lonely road, you know what it is. It's Boulevard of Broken Dreams. But this all leads us nicely on. That was by Green Day. If I put those a little bit more to the middle, maybe add a bit of slapback delay. Let's just hear the slapback delay. Can you hear that sounding like I'm in a really small, shiny room? Or like a stairway or something where it's all bouncing around. A bit like that. We do have a tutorial for the Ventures coming out soon. If you like all that kind of thing, make sure you tune into Monday's video. But that brings us on, once we've got the slapback delay and this tremolo happening, and then just occasionally, like maybe, let me just show this in isolation. Like a really fuzzy, dirty, low-end heavy, kind of like my amp's broken overdrive sound. We start to get a little bit more into what we're looking at today, which is the Cramps and this whole genre of psychobilly and punkabilly, which is rockabilly stuff. So rockabilly is definitely the slapback delay, and you know, very rockabilly songs that we've done already on the website. Probably the closest I get to it is probably Hound Dog, stuff like that. That kind of thing, and that's just with a very loud, to be fair, slapback delay. but a very cool one. So that's what we're influenced by, but what did it sound like if you add a bit of 80s goth and a little bit of Halloween elements to it? Because trust me, if any band leans into the Halloweenness of what can be done with a rock and roll band, it is the Cramps. This is the most famous song. And we got another one. This one is very much Teenage Werewolf. I Was a Teenage Werewolf, I should say. We can hear all the elements we've looked at so far kind of come to life. But this was released in 1980. Sound familiar? Sounds cool, right? So why are we doing this time of year? Why are we doing it now? Of course, it's Halloween and we get to look at this sort of stuff in October more than we might do at other times of year. But as I'm cracking on with the filming of Beginner Electric, especially all the end levels of the planning, but also trying to get you guys to improvise around that stage with minor pentatonic shape 1, I'm also looking at what songs you guys can play to give you real world examples that you guys can do. And Psychobilly and the Cramps and easier kind of earlier rockabilly stuff is full of them. And often we just go straight to blues, because blues is like easier rock guitar. It's where rock guitar kind of comes from. If you play blues music on electric guitar with minor pentatonic stuff, but you play it a bit faster, you have heavier drums, you have more overdrive and more kind of wild techniques like vibrato and all this kind of thing, you get rock and roll. It is a formula, so there is a progression from that. But as we looked at when we did a lot of 80s, so whenever we've looked at the 80s as a genre in my live streams and also just on my YouTube channel in general, from my research and from listening to you guys, there's nothing more 80s than a bit of 50s nostalgia. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but that seems to definitely be a thing. And nostalgia for the 1950s was at an all-time peak in the 80s because it's that sort of 30-year thing, just like 2025, Oasis are the biggest band on the planet because they're playing songs that they did 30 years ago and they were huge 30 years ago. It's just kind of how the modern world works, basically. And if you want more songs to be able to play, but that are within your ability, and you don't have to particularly learn one song again and again and again, you can just kind of free flow and get the idea of it. This is a great option for you because it's all based on the same stuff. So as some wider learning, like beyond this particular video and things that you might want to add to your playing, Rumble by Link Wray is like ground zero for all this. And as it is and was for Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. Really, really huge. Beyond that, any early kind of Elvis and rockabilly stuff is going to, like even if we're looking at all this, even something like... like a variation on that is pretty much every solo by the Cramps. When you see me kind of jamming and you think, oh, I'd love to be able to do that because it looks like he's making it up on the fly and stuff. If you learn enough of where these guys got it from, when you hear it in songs like this, particularly punk, post-punk, and all the subgenres, which this is kind of one of them because of when it came out, like in the 80s and 1980, it's huge, right? So let's have a look, a bit of an in-depth tutorial now for, first of all, Goo Goo Muck. In a very similar fashion to Link Wray, or in a very similar fashion to Rumble by Link Wray, we have this kind of, which is down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And the change of chord is part of that. You could go to open E tuning and do it with one kind of finger open chords, but we're just going to stay in standard here. And this is like, oh, so when the moon goes down in the sun comes up, I turn into a teenage Goo Goo Muck. Then we have A to a G and an A to a G. And I'm just doing a one finger A chord there because on electric guitar, I find that easier. Same rhythm, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Back to the E. Then a B power chord, 1, 2, 3, 4. A. That's 4 strums of each. And that's like the whole song, rhythm-wise. It just repeats in a 12-bar blues format. This is another example of 12-bar blues without having to go like 2 blues. We're rocking it up or rockabillying it up, I guess. And then if I add my tremolo and a little booster pedal, I get this tone. Let me take all of that off and just demo that again. This is clean tone. Just slight crunch on a bass katana. Let's add the boost first of all. Without and with. Tremolo. And a bit of slapback delay. Kind of really obvious delay, but very short. Not sounding like a room sound. That's trying to sound like a spring reverb from an old Fender amp or something. And we have this riff. That is 2 0 1 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2. And that works as kind of a question and answer technique. So when the moon comes down and the sun comes up, that question or call and response or question and answer is exactly how a lot of blues songs work. You know, I woke up this morning, had a pain in my head. Oh, I woke up this morning, I had a pain in my head. That's the call and response. Singer sings something, then you play. It's a really cool thing. Why most blues guitarists are also singers, but they don't have to be great singers because they're playing guitar in between when they sing. It's a really wonderful thing. The other part of this riff goes just between the open 2 thickest strings. And that's basically it. Once you've got literally almost going, almost doing the wipeout thing, right? So let me try and get this in my loop pedal. I'm going to take the booster pedal off and the tremolo, and let me see if we can do this. So 1 2 1 2 3 4. I turn into a teenage Goo Goo Muck. A to G. Right, that's in the looper. I turn into a teenage Goo Goo Muck. Yeah, it goes to an A and A to G. And I could keep going with that. Or I could go. Now, do all you guys remember that did my 14-day and 10-day courses, or even the new beginners course, where I really said, in G major pentatonic or G major scale, get that slide from 2 to 4 on the 3rd string, and steal it from Wish You Were Here, or something like that. So literally the Wish You Were Here solo, all of that, use it here. Or move it up to the 12th fret. And there you go, simple as that. So those are just some ideas that you can jam over with a looper pedal, a tremolo, and a bit of attitude and a bit of knowledge of basic blues stuff. Let's have a listen now and step that up to something that you would do without a looper pedal and just play on your own unaccompanied. And I think that's a really big step for a lot of electric guitar players. Let's have a listen to this one. Let's focus on that first bit. Let's go have a look at this and learn it properly, because it's such a cool song. This is I Was a Teenage Werewolf by the Cramps. Inspired very much by Link Ray, but transforms into its own thing and isn't an instrumental. But this part. Probably do this A7, something like that actually. Yeah, there we go, let's go for that. And then overdrive. Super inspired by Rumble. Same chord progression, same idea. Very cool. So what is this? From the very start of the song, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 3, 0, 3, E. The top 3 notes. E minor pentatonic scale, shape 1. 3, 3, 0, 3, E, 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, 3, 0, 3, E, 2, 3, 4, 1. I go for this A7. So that's A major with a 7 on top. And then 3, 3, 0, 3, boom. Same riff again. 3303 A7. Same rundown. Literally the same as. But as soon as I start doing loads of mutes, there's too much echo in it. There's too much reverb. It needs the kind of laziness of that kind of thing. Just works. Really cool thing, really cool song. There's one more Cramps song I want to show you before we move on from the Cramps, because I understand that not everyone's into it. But there was one song when I was researching what to do, kind of getting, ideas from this. And it is Halloween after all this month. So Big Black Witchcraft Rock is so cool. I've done a short of this. This is just full of loads of single note riffs that are like perfect for any aspiring guitar player to learn. And it's quite fun to kind of come back to some stuff like this when you're like a better guitar player, and then just go, oh, isn't it great to just go. And kind of remind yourself what it's all about. So we'll just dial in the tone here in a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Right, let's have a jam along to this and then we'll break it down a bit. Big Black Witchcraft Rock by the Cramps. Let's do it. You get the idea, and I'm sure you can see why I like it. So let's break this down a little bit. We have this main riff, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 3, 3, 2. All right, that's all over an E chord. So when there's a little break, a call and response thing happening again, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 3, 3, 2. It's literally the start of Heartbreak Hotel, but it's also over an E major chord, right? So we have just Dennis 2 strings at 12 and 12. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Hey baby, it's a big Black Witchcraft Rock. And then that's a B at the 7th fret, but we just hit Dennis 2 strings on a B, because that's how you solo over different chord progressions. When it changes chord, just presume you've totally changed key. Really high level stuff, but really basic. Finishing off. Really cool. So that concept of play this over the main riff. Hey, hey, baby, it's a big Black Witchcraft Rock in the gap. Is really cool. Let me just play all of that kind of over the track, and we'll have a bash of this. Let's have a go at it. Lead. Bang. B. And you could even minor pentatonic, do a little bit more, you know. All right, and then we get this really cool single note riff, which is like another 50s, 60s song. It's like the Peter Gunn theme, right? It's like... But it's different. It's 0, 0, 3, and 5, and 6, 7. And let me just adjust my settings a little bit. And then it's the same thing on the A string. So 0, 0, 3, and 5, and 6, 7. Now it starts on B, and then back to E minor pentatonic. That last bit was 7, 7, 5, 5, 7, 7, 5, 5, 7, and then down E minor pentatonic scale. Really cool. Check out the Cramps. It's just a fantastic set of songs to learn and kind of get you jamming over stuff that isn't just blues. Hope you've enjoyed that, guys. These were clips from this week's live stream at andyguitar.co.uk. I go live every Monday at 6 p.m. UK time. The link's in the description below, where we cover all sorts of topics, loads more in depth than I can do on my YouTube channel. I hope to see you over there. Full new beginners course for electric guitar is over there too, so check it out, and I'll see you over there. Bye for now.